Coming up on Look Today, well, we've got an update on the shooting incident that occurred in Hague earlier this week. We've got details. And fundraising concert will take place in Lake George, featuring the Adirondack Jazz Orchestra. More on that coming up. And health centers across our region are inviting the public to drop off their unused medications at a number of drop-off stations. I've got those details. All ahead on Look Today. Welcome everyone. Happy Friday. I'm J. Hood Jackson. This is Look Today. Tonight's program, I sit down with John Strong. He's Executive Director of the Lake George Arts Project. He's here to talk about the People's Pixel Project and their screening of these films that's happening this Sunday at the Hyde Museum in Glens Falls. I also sit down with Candace Fry. She's the Executive Director of LARAC in Glens Falls. And we're joined by Philip Casabona. He's the Shop and Festival Coordinator. They're here to talk about exciting upcoming events for LARAC. Plus, we've got your weekend weather for the Tri-North counties. But first, these headline stories. Well, in our lead story, we have an update on the shooting incident that occurred in Hague on Tuesday. Jim Rapkima, whose family owns the Hague Market, was shot 3 times at point-blank range earlier this week. Well, 2 suspects have been arrested and charged with second-degree attempted murder and first-degree armed robbery. Now, they've been identified as Vittorio Campano and Christine Tomko. Their bail, by the way, set at $1 million each. Now, Jim was sent to the University of Vermont Medical Center in Burlington, and he is in stable condition. Talking to everyone. Everyone here at Look Media continues to wish Jim continued success in his recovery. In other news, well, a fundraising concert is taking place tomorrow at Lake George High School. The Adirondack Jazz Orchestra is playing a concert to raise money for the amphitheater renovation project. Now, the Charles R. Wood Park Amphitheater is being upgraded with a new sound system. Well, we spoke to Al Tolomeo. He's the leader of the Adirondack Jazz Orchestra.
It's for Lake George, the amphitheater, and they're upgrading the light system and the sound system. And Mayor Blaze has done a couple of concerts, and I offered the band to help them out. And I think it's going to be a success. I think there's going to be a lot of people there and raise some money, and it's a great project.
This orchestra, by the way, can swing. Switching from news to weather. Well, the sun came out today. Temperatures are in the 70s, even knocking against the door of the 80s. Let's see how the weekend is shaping up. For a more detailed look at our weather, let's head to the Glens Falls Weather Center for a look at your first forecast.
Thank you, Jesse. As we check out the forecast, as we round out the work week and head into the weekend, we're going to be watching some pretty mild conditions with us overnight, and some rain chances also doing their best to work back in. Not so much in the short term, just a very slim chance of showers, but then in the longer term, we'll be watching these couple fronts kind of smashing themselves together, stalling out across the Midwest, and then eventually pushing back in our direction. So that's a look at the big picture. Zooming in the view a bit, temperatures into the upper 40s, mid 50s across the region, 55 Scranton and Albany as well, 48 in Burlington, Vermont, and 51 New York City, some 60s, even near 70 overnight lows back down towards our nation's capital. For us, partly cloudy skies, maybe a little bit of cloud covering coming tonight, low of 53 degrees. That initial cold front will bring us a chance at a few morning showers, but those will quickly push in and out by lunchtime. We're going to see some more sunshine back in the mix, high of about 72. Out the door tomorrow morning, that's when we could see a few isolated showers, but it'll stay very mild. Temperatures between the 8 to 9 a.m. hour, about 56 to 61, so quick warm-ups on the way. And over the next few days, you can see what I'm talking about as far as the wet weather chances. Those ramp back up late Sunday. We'll see a little bit cooler weather Sunday behind that first front, 63 degrees for the afternoon high. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll continue to keep at least a 30% chance of showers. Now, the bulk of our moisture will come back in as we start off next week, about a 50% chance of rain on Monday. The warmest day as well with a high of 75. Continue to see those showers pushing through Tuesday. Then finally, as we head into the midweek, that's when some of those showers begin to lighten back up as that cold front slowly clears off our coast. Well, that's it for now from the Weather Center. Now let's get back to you, Jesse.
Thanks, Brent. All right, back to the news. Here's a story. Pay attention. The Saratoga Prevention Council and other health centers in our area are inviting everyone to dispose of their old medications at different drop-off stations around our region. No questions asked. Now, the station can be found at the Moreau Community Center, the Saratoga Springs Police Station, Ballston Spa Police Station, and other places that you can find out about by going online. Well, we spoke to James Norton. He's coordinator for the Community Coalition for Family Wellness of the Prevention Council in Saratoga.
Well, it's extremely important for especially parents, but grandparents, to anyone who regularly engages with young adults to dispose of their unwanted, unused, or expired medication, specifically because that's the most common source of misused medication.
Yeah, good luck with that. Up next, I sit down with John Strong. He's the executive director of the Lake George Arts Project. He's here to talk about the People's Pixel Project and the screening of these films that's happening this Sunday at the Hyde Collection in Glens Falls. Plus, I also sit down with Candace Fry. She's executive director of LARAC in Glens Falls, and joined by Philip Casabona. He's the shop and festival coordinator. They're here to talk about exciting upcoming events for LARAC. But first, if you see news happening, you want to share a story idea. How about join us for an interview? Then give us a call on the hotline. The number is 798-8000. Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of Look Today. Well, it was quite a week around here this week. A lot of great interviews, and just everybody was out catching all kinds of stories. So I want to thank the crew. Ladies first, Antoinette and Dana. But of course, we've got Andrew and Drew, Jack and Joel, and Norm to make this show possible. Thank them for making the show possible each week. Today, I met a wonderful guy, Bill Starkey. I went to get a sandwich up on Broadway, and I sat on a bench there just to cool my heels a little bit. And Bill and I had a wonderful conversation about life in general. So lookout goes to you, Bill. Real pleasure to meet you today. Thirdly, I want to remind you, Facebook. We're getting a lot of nice comments, and we want your input. So please go to Facebook and tell us what you think of our stories, what you think of our interviews. You can tell us what you think of us. Just please go to Facebook. We've got a number of events this weekend. Some we were covering in interviews, so I want to remind you about those. Climate March in Glens Falls tomorrow on Saturday. It starts in City Park in Glens Falls and goes up to Crandall Park up Glen. A wonderful day and a wonderful reminder of how precious this planet is that we live on. And the People's Pixel Project on Sunday at the Hyde Collection in Glens Falls is something you want to see. A bunch of very, very talented film makers. And last but not least, Wingfest in Glens Falls. Now, I'm a vegetarian, so I was kind of wondering what Wingfest was. Was it a show with a bunch of birds? So Andrew suggests to me that I should find out what wings are. So I'm looking at them and I'm thinking to myself, people actually eat these things? And then I reminded Andrew of what I ate for lunch, a bean sprout tomato sandwich. And Andrew, I thought, came up with something very clever. He said, yeah, Jesse, that's the food that my food eats. Thank you. Thank you, Andrew. Tonight on Look TV, Beyond the Headlines, new Beyond the Headlines, and we've got tracks, our music show. Have a great weekend, everybody, and we'll see you Monday night for the stories that matter to you. Good night, everyone.